Harvey's introductory product training. In this last installment, we'll be covering the effective usage of Harvey's platform. This includes prompt engineering, tips and tricks, and key takeaways to get you started off on the right foot. We'll begin with prompt engineering. A prompt is a precise, task-specific instruction written in natural language. Essentially, it's what you ask Harvey to do. Think of Harvey as a brilliant colleague of yours that may be new to a matter that you're now assigning work to. Being as clear and precise with your language will help ensure Harvey knows what you're asking for, where to look, and how to prepare the work product for you. Good prompts generally include three key elements: request, context, and output. A request is the action you want Harvey to perform, such as summarize, compare, or explain. Be clear with the action you want Harvey to take. Context is perhaps the most important part of a prompt. Here is where you explain to Harvey what information matters most to you. This will help Harvey prioritize its analysis and deliver more tailored results. For example, if you're asking Harvey to review a red line for material issues, let Harvey know what issues are most material to you and your client. The output is where you can specify the format or structure you'd like in Harvey's output. For example, if you want Harvey to prepare a comparison table, tell Harvey what to include in each row and column. In summary, Harvey can deliver tailored, precise outputs as long as you provide clear instructions. Including a well-defined request, relevant context, and a description of your desired output, you'll help Harvey focus on what matters most to you. Let's walk through the evolution of a prompt to better understand how these key components of a prompt impact Harvey's output. Let's ask Harvey to summarize a court opinion. As we've covered earlier, assistant's drafting capabilities excel at generating long-form content, but that's not what we're seeing. We've asked Harvey to summarize, but Harvey is only providing us with a single paragraph summary. So why is this? The prompt only contains a one-word request. Without additional guidance, Harvey doesn't know what the output should look like or what to include in the summary. In this case, Harvey's idea of a summary might be a short paragraph. So how can we improve Harvey's output? Let's instead ask Harvey to summarize the ruling in a clear and well-organized memo with subheadings and discuss the potential implications for other companies. We encourage you to pause the video here and run each of these prompts in Harvey now to see the differences. By specifying the format and focus of the output, we've given Harvey a clear idea of what we're looking for. As a result, Harvey produces a more detailed and structured response aligning with the request. Let's go one step further. Perhaps you have some baseline familiarity with the document and want Harvey to dive deeper into those topics. Rather than broadly asking for a summary, you can detail to Harvey what to analyze, like the pro-competitive justifications made in this case, what the court found to be lacking in those arguments, and how they could be improved. By providing Harvey with this additional context and a more targeted request, the output becomes significantly more insightful and actionable. Harvey delivers a nuanced analysis, exploring both the weaknesses and strengths of the arguments presented, and offers ideas for bolstering future justifications. This demonstrates how hitting the three key pillars of a prompt can drastically alter the quality of Harvey's output. All we needed to do was provide more detail to Harvey in natural language to get the result we were looking for. While we encourage all users to strengthen prompting techniques, selecting the Improve Prompt button within Assistant will refine your query for you, producing clearer prompts and higher quality results with no additional effort. Prompting isn't the only way to hone Harvey's outputs. You can also iterate on Harvey through follow-up questions and revisions. As a reminder from what we covered in Part 2 of our Introduction to Harvey training, follow-up questions allow you to dig deeper into your original query or even explore additional aspects on a topic. Revisions allow you to refine the language, structure, or focus of an existing output. Here, we're working with items from document review and want to create a chronological summary of events, identify conflicts or gaps in the documents, and generate discovery requests and questions based on those gaps. Harvey can handle all of these tasks in one query, providing a good starting point. However, you might find the output isn't as detailed as you need. To get more comprehensive results, the best approach is to break these questions into separate queries. By isolating each request, Harvey can dedicate its full compute power to analyzing each aspect, resulting in more detailed and targeted outputs. For example, you could first ask Harvey to provide the chronological summary of events. Then ask it to identify conflicts, gaps, contradictions, or ambiguities in those events. Finally, ask it to generate discovery requests based on the gaps identified. This method allows Harvey to provide deeper insights and ensures nothing is overlooked, delivering a far more detailed and actionable analysis. Now, let's explore how revisions operate in Assistant. Whereas follow-up questions allow you to explore entirely new topics, revisions instead are solely focused on refining the output Harvey provides. You can think of a revision as if you were marking up the document, Harvey's output, with a pen. You can iteratively edit the content, remove some portions of the text, or suggest global changes, but you can't suddenly transform a written memo into a PowerPoint presentation. If you want to explore something entirely new that is not tethered to Harvey's initial output or would like Harvey to review additional documents, you can always start a new thread. Let's say that we've asked Harvey to draft a client alert summarizing an opinion, but realize we forgot to ask Harvey to explore key client takeaways. Asking Harvey to add that section is a great use of a revision. When should you not use a revision? As mentioned earlier, you're bound by the initial output that Harvey produces. If we ask Harvey to rewrite this client alert as an email, Harvey would need to scrap much of its existing output, but the results would still be limited to what Harvey initially provided, leading to unsatisfactory results. Instead, you should ask Harvey to add a bulleted list of key implications and takeaways. When you ask for a bulleted list in your revision, rather than discarding most of the original draft as it did with the previous example, Harvey will repurpose its initial output to dive deeper into your original request. To review how Harvey revised its initial output, you can toggle the edits on the right side of your screen just below where you entered the revision. Revisions work best when you are refining or enhancing Harvey's original output. Asking for a completely different output goes beyond the scope of what revisions are designed for. This approach isn't helpful for tracking changes because it's essentially a new request. For situations like this, you'd want to create a new thread. By starting fresh, you can reuse the original documents but frame a new query that better aligns with your updated needs. Another effective way to use revisions is to target specific sections of the output. For example, you could highlight the portion you want revised, then ask Harvey to revise the highlighted text. This method allows you to refine specific parts of the output without affecting the rest, which is ideal for incremental improvements. Before we wrap up, we'd like to leave you with a few tips and tricks to keep in mind as you start using Harvey. First, it's important to note that the large language models, or LLMs powering Harvey, have knowledge cutoffs. Harvey's general knowledge cutoff is May 2024. However, if you're using the Edgar knowledge source, it's live synced with only a 5-minute delay. Now, you might be wondering how this cutoff date could impact your results. The good news is that it typically won't make a significant difference. That's because Harvey isn't intended to be a case law or statutory research tool at this time. If you do need to conduct external research on Harvey, you'll need to select one of the knowledge sources available on Harvey, such as Edgar. Without selecting a knowledge source or uploading the necessary information, Harvey won't have access to up-to-date information on a topic. To fill this gap, always provide Harvey with the information it needs to perform the requested task. For example, you can give Harvey your favorite precedent when asking to conform a document to market. It's also important to note that, as an LLM, Harvey is subject to hallucinations. A hallucination occurs when a large language model is prompted to do something, but lacks the data to properly analyze a query. As such, a generative AI tool may try to fill in the gaps with plausible but inaccurate content not tethered to a source of truth. So, how do we as a company address this? First, we always encourage you to upload relevant documents with every query. This helps Harvey stay grounded in a source of truth. Additionally, Harvey cites directly to an underlying source. You should always verify Harvey's outputs by reviewing these citations. As you begin using Harvey, we encourage you to be creative and experiment with different types of queries. If you're not seeing the results you want, take a moment to think about how you can rephrase your question or approach the task differently. It's also essential to remember the key pillars of prompting: the request, the context, and the output. Adding context is especially powerful. It hones your results to precisely what you're looking for. Without sufficient context, you'll likely notice a drop in output quality, so iterating and refining your prompts is critical. As we've discussed, it's helpful to break up tasks if you're not getting the level of detail you need. Use follow-up questions to drill deeper into specific areas, and if necessary, divide larger documents into smaller, more manageable sections for analysis. Always critically review the outputs Harvey provides. Just like any work product in a law firm or business, it's important to thoroughly review the information before sending it out externally. As you get started, we encourage you to explore Harvey's library. Here, you'll find curated prompts and examples from legal experts at Harvey, showcasing some of the best use cases for Harvey. But this isn't an exhaustive list, so don't be afraid to find your own favorite use cases. You'll only learn Harvey's limits by testing them yourself. We encourage you to experiment with Harvey and don't hesitate to share those best use cases with your colleagues. This concludes your introductory training to Harvey. By now, you've gained an understanding of Harvey's product and what Harvey is and who we are, watched a live demo showcasing its features and use cases, learned about the philosophy of prompt engineering and why it's important, and picked up some tips, tricks, and key takeaways to help you get started. Thank you for watching and for taking the time to learn more about Harvey. We're thrilled to have you on board